So some of you probably remember how to use the calculator and add, subtract, multiply matrices. If you do not, this is your quick review, so pay attention and follow along. We'll go through this quickly. Let's say matrix A is a 3 by 2 matrix. So, I don't know, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, negative 3. And let's say B is a 2 by 2. 1, negative 1, 2, 0. So this is a 3 by 2, and this one was a 2 by 2. First question, can we add or subtract these? Okay, and we don't need the calculator to tell us that. We know that because the dimensions are not equal. Okay, but we can certainly multiply. Let's see, could I do A times B?
Yep.
The dimensions for A are 3 by 2 times a 2 by 2. So everything checks out, right? Number of rows in A equal number of columns in B. The answer is going to be a 3 by 2. Let's have the calculator do it for us now. So what you do, you press second, and then right here above the x to the minus 1 button, it says matrix. That's your matrix menu. Okay? What you're going to do is tell the calculator what matrix A, what matrix B looks like. So you're going to edit, hit enter on A. First thing it asks you is what the dimensions are. So go ahead and put in the appropriate dimensions. So 3 by 2. And now you just enter the entries. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, negative 3.
And then we do the same thing for B, right?
Yes, if you know what you're doing, you press second, and then matrix again to get back to the main menu. You go over to edit, and then now we're going to go ahead and program matrix B into it. So hit enter on B. And this one is already 2 by 2 for whatever reason, for me anyway, so I'm going to leave it. Yours may not have dimensions, so fix it if necessary. And I'll go ahead and put in the entries. 1, negative 1, 2, 0. Once you have all the matrices that you're working with programmed into your calculator, quit out of that menu so that you're back on the home screen. Okay, is everybody there?
Mm-hmm.
So now if I want to do A times B, go back to the matrix menu. So second matrix. But now you don't edit, you just simply hit enter on whatever matrix you want to use. So I'm going to hit enter on A, and I'm going to multiply it with B. So go back to the matrix menu, hit enter on B. Now that it's set up right, you hit enter, and there's your answer. Okay?
Will you allow us to use calculator?
You will have to be comfortable doing both.
Alright.
Okay? There will be a section where you have to do things by hand, and then one section where I give you like 7 different matrices, A, B, C, D, E, F, or whatever the case is, and then you have to, if you're going to do everything by hand, it's going to take you way too long. Like your only option really is to program them and then have the calculator do it for you.
How hard to matrices get?
Not very hard. Not very hard. Let's see. Let's try to do B times A. So B times A. Dimension mismatch. Okay, your calculator is not as smart as you. If you wrote dimension mismatch on your quiz, I would not give you points for that. Because can you multiply matrices with different dimensions?
Yep.
Yeah, we just did. We did a 3 by 2 times a 2 by 2. Well, that's what I'm trying to make a point of, right? So your calculator saying dimension mismatch, you can't do this, is actually not quite the best answer possible. Does that make sense? If you see this, however, you should know that you can't do it, but you're going to go ahead and give me the best explanation why. Well, why not? If I do B times A, that's a 2 by 2 times a 3 by 2. Why can't we multiply these? The number of rows in B do not equal the number of rows in A. That's what you would write. Write it out like that. Right. Because it'll say explain why you can't do it.
Would it be the columns in A?
Did I say it backwards?
Yeah.
Sorry, you're right. It's the number of columns in the first matrix, which is B, do not equal the number of rows in the second matrix, which in this case is A. All right? Are you guys comfortable programming stuff in there?
Yep.
Okay? I'm not going to ask you to do a whole bunch of examples. As long as you kind of know where the menu is and how to program them, everything's pretty intuitive. If you had to add, which in this case, we already know we can't, right? I mean, it'll tell you it's impossible, but again, it gives you that same goofy reason. In this case, though, it's actually accurate because when you're adding or subtracting, the dimensions actually do have to match, right? Okay, so that would be okay then for this case. All right. Are we okay multiplying, adding, and subtracting matrices by hand and with the calculator now? All right, so then there's one other thing I want to show you. What time do we get out of here? Okay, 4 minutes. Plenty of time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about reduced row echelon form.
Wait, what word is that?
Echelon. ECHELON. Sorry.
Is that French?
I'm not sure what name origin that is.
Latin?
Is it?
Everything
No,
comes
no,
out.
no. Isn't that one of the German?
Epsilon is a Greek letter. Okay. Let's quickly do a system that we already know what the answer is. Let's make one up. Let's see. 5x plus 6y equals 7. 3x plus 4y equals 5. This one we already know the answer is negative 1, 2. Good question. Let's use the calculator and find out. Now,
So we don't know.
to use RREF on the calculator, and if we have time, I'll go through the calculations you'd have to do by hand, but I just want to show you on the calculator so you can get through some of the homework. Here's what you do. First, you put all the coefficients, and I mean 5, 6, and 7, into one row, and you put the second row of numbers, 3, 4, and 5, into a second row. What size matrix is this now? This is a 2 by 3. Go ahead and program this into your calculator real quick. So, matrix menu, edit. I'll just stick it in A and change it to a 2 by 3. And just change the numbers so they match. 5, 6, 7. Whoops. 3, 4, 5. Quit out of the menu. And now if you go back to the matrix menu, once you have matrices programmed in there, if you go to math, you can tell it to do several things with matrices. If you scroll down or up, up is faster by the way, you will see an option that says RREF, which stands for exactly what we're doing here. So hit enter on that.
Wait, where do we go for that?
Second matrix, math menu, and then find RREF. Hit enter on it, and now it's waiting for you to tell it which matrix to put into RREF form. So now you have to go back to the matrix menu and tell it that you're going to go ahead and use matrix A for this one.
Are you only supposed to have one?
Yes.
Wait, so
If you go ahead and hit enter, now it tells you this. It says 1, 0, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. Okay, of course these numbers mean something. What do these numbers mean up here? This represented what? 5, what? 5x plus 6y equal to 7. 3x plus 4y equal to 5. So what does this mean? 1x plus 0y equals negative 1. Well, isn't that just telling us what x is? It's telling us that x is negative 1. And then what does this row translate to? 0x, 1y equals 2. We can review this a little more tomorrow, but that's essentially how you use it. This is by far the fastest way possible to solve a system, is to use RREF. We'll talk about all the special cases tomorrow with the no solution and the infinitely many.